Hi there, Duncan again. I just wanted to put a short video out about arm exercises. After my stroke, I was paralysed down the left. My left arm took a long time to come back. My fingers came back quite quickly, but my left arm was basically glued to my side and it took a long time to come back. And while in hospital, it didn't seem to matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't control my left arm. I just couldn't get the thought process to move it. It was like trying to move somebody else's arm. But eventually I got there with the help of physios. I'll show you a couple of things that really, I think, stepped me forward in my arm movement. It's still a bit weak, but I'm right-handed, so my left arm was always weaker and less used. But this really did step me forward. So the first one was getting a stick or a broom. I've got a mop here. So obviously hold it in both hands. I can move it in my right arm quite happily. My left, not so much, but if you hold it together with both arms and use this connection between them, then you can use your right arm and let your left arm follow. And I'm not a trained physiotherapist. I'm not even a physiotherapist, but lessons learned from my physio. The movement feedback into the brain to form those connections, I guess kind of in reverse, I suppose, is the way I understood it. Because the limb is moving, the brain recognises that movement and starts to build that connection so it can work in reverse. So the brain connections that it has memorised realises, oh, that's what left arm movement is like. So again, just any sort of rod, broom handle, I've got a mop here, hold it in both hands, as you see, and use your right arm to get your left arm moving, whether that's side to side like this or up and down, whatever it happens to be, whatever's comfortable for you. And just try and do a few of these exercises just to get the limb moving again is key. The other one, and that's why I'm doing this from my kitchen, the other one that really helped was using kitchen cabinets, and I'll demonstrate that. I'm going to have to turn my back, so excuse me. I guess one rule of videoing is never turn your back on the audience, but I'm going to have to turn my back to show you this. But it's really just putting my hand up against the units and sliding my hand up and down. Again, this was really difficult for a start, but doing it a few times really did get the left arm moving and build up those connections. So these cupboards are reasonably shiny, so they're quite easy, but I'm going to use a tea towel anyway, or any sort of towel, a rag or anything, to place on the shiny surface, and then put your left arm against it. I can raise my left arm, but in hospital I had to physically move my left arm. But once it's up there, even just standing there with your arm up, pushing against the unit helps. But the idea is to try and use your arm to lift up. I'm raising my feet to try and get higher, but I guess the key point here is to use your shoulder and upper arm just to slide it up and down the unit, and that'll again stimulate movement. The other key point that really kicked on my left arm progress was the concept of getting my shoulders moving first. So the arm movement really stems from the shoulder movement. So if you can get your shoulders working, that'll then kick into the full arm movement. So just when you're sitting watching TV or sitting at the dinner table, just shrug your shoulders. You might find that your left is difficult, but if you can shrug your shoulders, it's a minimal exercise, but that small movement, getting the shoulder moving, can help the full arm movement. It's going to be difficult to show here, but one thing that they did physio was to concentrate on the shoulder blades and try and force your shoulder blades together. You won't be able to see it here, but the physios were looking at my back to see my shoulder blades. But obviously you can feel your shoulder blades, those little triangle shaped bones at the back, and the idea is to try and get them moving and get them to touch together. And the physios used to put their hand in the middle of my back and feel when the two shoulder blades were coming together. But you can do that on your own, again, just by moving your shoulders. Just focus on trying to get those shoulder blades together and then apart. similar to just shrugging your shoulders. I think shrugging your shoulders automatically uses those bones and muscles, but just sitting there consciously thinking about your shoulder blades moving together and coming apart might help stimulate that shoulder movement. So if you're struggling with your left arm like I was, give those a try, they might help. As I said, I'm not a trained medical professional, so maybe seek medical advice before starting it. If you've seen one brain injury, you've seen one brain injury, so everybody's different. That might not be applicable in your case, but it was something that helped me, so I just wanted to share that. The broom handle and sliding my arm up and down a kitchen unit or a wall really helped me. The other one that I'm not going to be able to demonstrate here was every day at home. I used to take a football or a soccer ball, as they call it here in Australia or America, a round football in my hands, and I used to throw it against a wall outside and catch it, see it bouncing and try and catch it. We had a strange outdoor configuration where there was a corner where I used to be able to throw the ball, bounce it off the corner, so I could throw it against one wall, it automatically bounced against the other and came to me. So throwing it into the corner, letting it to bounce and then return to me. But even a flat wall, throwing the ball, that movement of throwing the ball alone gets the arm moving, and similar to the broom handle, holding one object with both hands and throwing it automatically moves the hand with the other one. So throwing the ball, catching it, do 20, 50, 100 repetitions every day, and you'll be amazed how quickly the arm comes back. Once it comes back to a certain degree, you can progress to one arm throws. Depends how athletic you are and how good you are at catching, but just doing the one arm throw, try to catch it with both hands, move it into the one hand, throw it, watch it bounce and try and catch it again. That's another one. So just use that if you can. Also, doing something outside, I think, is preferable to doing things inside. Banging a football against an indoor wall might not be a clever thing to do. You could do it in the garage, I suppose, but doing it outside in the garden was what I did, and that again helped me. So there's 3 or 4 exercises that you might want to try just to get that arm moving. Once it does start moving, you can use it in day-to-day life a little bit more easily. And as I say, the whole idea, or the way I interpreted that, was getting the arm moving tells the brain what that arm movement progression is like. So effectively creates the neuron connections in reverse. And once they're recreated, because they've been blown away by the stroke, my stroke was in the right hemisphere, right rear hemisphere of my brain. So I was paralysed down the left. And again, typically a right hand brain injury affects the left hand side of the body. Left hand side brain injury affects the right hand side of the body, and speech. My speech wasn't affected because it was the other side of my brain. But I had the left facial droop, left arm, left side paralysis, and a left field vision loss, which is permanent. I'll talk a little bit about that and the hemianopia in future videos, but thanks for watching. Give this a like, just to keep encouraging me to keep creating content, and subscribe, share if you can. And thanks for getting to the end of the video. All the best with your recovery or recovery process. Thank you.